Greetings, podcast listeners. This is the Heartache Connoisseur podcast, coming to you from flyover country. Just a country psychiatrist out here doing the Lord's work, classically trained in the tradition of the great physician, coming to you from my basement here in the woods of Iowa. Creepy, isn't it? Oh, well, it's Friday, everybody. Christmas is just around the corner. What are you going to do with yourselves? Are you going to drink some eggnog? I love that stuff. I can't get enough of it. I have no idea what's in it. But it's creamy, rich goodness. And we're going to, I don't know, probably bake some cookies, wrap a few presents, eat some soup nobody likes, but we've been doing it since 1987, so that's how we're going to do it. Well, we'll see. Speaking of food, I have I have a wife now, and my wife came with 2 teenagers and a poodle. And the poodle's name is Asher, and Asher is, in many ways, a very well-organized and structured dog because its primary owner is Shelly. And Shelly feeds this dog in a regimented fashion. She has little measuring cups, and she feeds it 2 even cups of food, not full cups, but the size of the scoop, twice a day at the appropriate times. And it's a well-appointed ritual. And that dog does not stray unless it decides to get into the trash can while we're away from the house, which it will sometimes do. And I don't blame it. I don't really, because I understand it's really sick and tired of all that dry kibble. It's dying for like a scrap of a hamburger bun. Anything soft, anything meaty, juicy. So I'm out eating ribs the other day at this local barbecue joint called Jimmy Jack's Rib Shack. They make a mean set of ribs. They've done well for themselves around here. And they just opened up a location pretty near my office in North Liberty. So I head over there for lunch, and I order myself up a half slab and got the baked beans and the cornbread and the coleslaw because I'm trying to lay off the carbs. As if going to a barbecue restaurant shows any real commitment to that at all. But I went ahead and lied to myself and said that the coleslaw would somehow make up for the rest of the syrupy goodness that I was about to consume. But what I did was I took home a few leftover ribs, and I thought to myself, Shelly's not home. This dog wants a rib real bad. And I'm going to see if I can win its favor by giving it a rib. And I really hope that it doesn't give it diarrhea or make it do something weird and get us both caught. So I get home, and I've got a little doggy bag, and that's why they call it a doggy bag, evidently. I've got this little doggy bag of ribs, and I take one out. And he's kind of a little guy. I just gave him one. And I got down on one knee, and he came over and sat dutifully in front of me. And I told him to roll over. Thought he ought to just work for it a little. And he kind of half rolled over. He doesn't really roll over. He does more of a breakdancing kind of spin on your back kind of thing. Only it's real awkward, and it looks like he's kind of trying to roll over. Then he flips himself upright again, and I hold this rib up to his nose, and he sniffs it, and he looks up at me. He's like, are you serious with this? And I'm like, yes. You can have this rib. Nobody's home but you and me. It's all yours. And he's like, I'm not doing it. I know what Shelly would think of this, and I'm not comfortable with this at all. And he won't take the rib from me. So I sat the rib down in front of him on the floor. And he just kind of looks down at it. He looks back up again, and he's like, I'm still not doing it. And I said, listen, Asher. I said it just like that. Listen. Listen, I'm going to turn around, and I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to turn my back to you, and I want you to take that rib, and do with it what you will. So I turn around, and he takes the rib, and he runs over to another part of the house and parks himself on this rug that has some white in it with that rib. And I'm like, well, here it is. He's going to eat this sauce-covered rib on the white carpet, and that's how I'm going to get nailed. But he still wouldn't eat it. So it's just kind of laying there in front of him, and I walk towards him, and he gets up, and this time at least he takes the rib with him, and he runs off into the living room, and I think to myself, man, I really want to watch this dog eat this rib. So I went and took a seat on the couch and put my feet up and just watched him think about it for a while, and eventually he starts in, and he starts nibbling just a little bit at the corner. And he starts taking bigger bites, and before you know it, he's got all the meat off of it. And then you hear, and he's got half of the bone cracked and down his gullet, and then he eats the whole thing gone, and there's no trace, which is for the best. And I'd like to think that really shifted something in our relationship. It would be my contention that he and I have grown much closer since that day, and we continue to develop and grow as a couple. And he disappointed me not long ago when he chewed through our brand new fleecy comforter for our bed, but I forgave him. And next time I get ribs, I'll probably save one or more for him again. Well, why do I tell that story? Because that story illustrates some really important concepts, I think, about how we human beings work as it pertains to our ability to receive love. And love is a blessing. What is a blessing? A blessing is something that is given to somebody freely that turns out to be great for them. It turns out to be awesome and amazing for them in some way. And you can choose to see things as blessings or curses, and it's up to you. You can see your job as a blessing or as a curse. You can see your partner as a blessing or not, your kids as a blessing or not. And your thinking can shift on that from moment to moment, and that's all right. You can keep coming back to the state of mind that you would prefer. So this dog, he gets presented with this rib, which by all stretches of the imagination meets the criteria for a blessing to a dog. And he can't make himself do it right away. Like it's what he's always wanted. I know that it is. It's a dream come true. There is no higher calling for a dog than to eat freshly cooked pork off of a bone. That's it for them. And he just wasn't in his heart and soul sure that he was worthy. And I get it. It's because we've been feeding him dry dog food every day his whole life, and he doesn't know anything different. And so many of us are like that. We've been eating the human equivalent of dry dog food every day for our whole lives, and when something good comes across our plate and smacks us on the face, we don't know that it's okay for us to take it and enjoy it and indulge in it and want it and let it be. So I can't tell you how true that feels for me in my life. I mean, there's so many great things that have come across my plate as the years have gone on, and depending on my level of maturity, I have tended to see those things either as blessings or curses. And I think when we're younger, we only see the amazing things as blessings. And you might even conceive of aging or the maturation process as gaining the ability to see things that are unpleasant as a blessing. That's a good bellwether, if you will, for maturity. When you can take a look at your life and see the things that hurt, see the things that were hard, see the paths that were torturous and uphill and steep, and you didn't know when they were going to end. When you can look back on those things and see the ways that they've changed you for the better and the ways they've sent you on trajectories that made things go away that is just so crazy good that you would never trade it for the world. Looking back, you wouldn't do it any differently, because you see how those dominoes all fell, bringing you to the present day. And so that's my message to you here this Christmas. I think that you guys can have a great Christmas if you want, or you can have a really terrible Christmas. And it all depends on how you see the gifts that are given to you. You can see everything in your life as a giant lump of coal, or you can see it like the best brand new bike from Santa Claus there ever was that you've always wanted, waiting for you downstairs in the living room on Christmas morning that you didn't even know you were getting, that's got a big red bow on it. And it's up to you. It really is. When it comes right down to it, you can turn anything into a blessing or a curse. You can go look at that lump of coal and you can think, well, I'll be darned. Look at all the things I can do with coal. I can sketch. I can take some of it and put it right here under my eyes, and I can sit in the outfield and catch fly balls and not get the sun in my eyes. I can light my barbecue with it and make some ribs, perhaps. I mean, this coal, look at all the energy per unit volume that's stored in this thing. Look at this. A whole bag of these things would be, wow. A whole bag of these things would be amazing. In fact, it would be a necessary requirement for any reasonable summertime gathering to go down with any kind of pleasantness for everybody involved. You got to have charcoal at your barbecues. And you can look at that bike and you can think, I don't like that shade of green. Those handle grips are not as soft and rubbery as I would have liked. The bow wrapped around the handlebars is of a texture not to my liking. The seat is not adjusted according to my height. The knobbies on the tires are not the type of tread that I prefer for the style of riding that I do, etc., etc. Does any of this sound familiar to you people? Does anybody resonate with any of this? Lord knows I do. The only reason I can sit down here and say any of this to you is because I have slandered and maligned so many good things that have come my way, and I have thought so many other things that appeared to be good at the time were the bee's knees, and they've turned out to be maybe not the healthiest thing in the world. So I'm no saint. I'm here to tell you. And here's the thing about blessings. You know how, well, I'm going to try and watch my language, but where I come from, we like to say that crap rolls downhill. And of course, what we mean by that is that when somebody gives you a hard time, you tend to turn around and give that to somebody else. And the same is true about blessings. So when you get blessed, when you get a good gift that's good for you, you are obliged, as a result of being the recipient of that good gift, to take off a portion of it and give it away to somebody else as a blessing, metaphorically speaking. Share your bike. Let your friend ride your bike. Let you cook a hot dog for your friends with your charcoal. Have a cookout for some people in the neighborhood that don't got no hot dogs at all. Find those people. You know, this is what you do. You take what you are given as a blessing and you turn it around and amplify that in somebody else's direction as well. And why do we do that? We do it because part of the blessing is the way it makes us feel. It's not so much the bike, you know. At this age, if somebody gave me a bike, I'd think, well, that's really nice, but I could go buy a bike. It's that if it's something that I that shows that they know me and that they want to do something good for me and bless me, it makes me feel good. And that's a good portion of what blessing is all about, really. Most of us are going to live through missing one more hot dog or one more gift of this form or another. But it's the way that we feel when somebody sees us in our humanity and gives us something. We're so often overlooked by one another. We don't see each other's needs very well. I'll be honest. I gave my daughter some nail polish for her birthday and among other things, and I have to confess that I think she appeared to be slightly disappointed by that. And the reason is that I think she's tired of painting her nails, She's been painting her nails since I gave her a huge pile of nail polish 2 Christmases ago, and some of that's getting pretty gloppy, so I thought I'd replenish her nail polish kit. And she was like, "Dad, can we move off the nail stuff, please?" And then it occurred to me in that moment that maybe I didn't take enough time to really explore with her what she would have liked for her birthday. I just kind of went with the default. And so what often is the case is that the best blessings are those that are unique for us. The ones that come from a place of being seen and known by someone. And this is where the God piece comes in. God sees you and he knows exactly what it takes to get through to you. And it's not the same for everybody else. He knows the key to your safe. He knows how to crack your code. And if he's not getting in there, it's because you're not letting him. The thing about God is he's a gentleman and he doesn't bless anybody. Well, you know what? That's not true. He blesses everybody whether they want it or not. That's clear. I mean, there's a lot of people who benefit from warm, sunny summer days and that sort of thing that aren't treating the people in their lives very nice. And so that speaks to his goodness. He's so willing to bless us all. But when he does bless us, frequently it's very specific. It's very, very specific to exactly what we need at a time to move us a position along the path of life in a way that opens us up for even more blessing. And that's what blessing does, is it opens us up for even more. It's as if when we receive a blessing and truly receive it, we grow, our hearts grow in their overall capacity to receive. And then when we are presented with more, we are able to then contain it and hold it and pass it along more richly to those around us. Well, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for this particular take on things. And it's meant to inspire us a little bit for the Christmas season, to get us into the mood. Hey, with this Santa business, let's all just settle down. Look, most of us know that Santa's not real, but here's the thing: Santa is real, and here's why. Because Santa is psychologically true. Does it mean that there's a Santa up in the North Pole with a big pack of elves and a bunch of reindeer and a wife that bakes cookies 24/7, 365? I don't think that that's exactly what it means. But does it mean that does the idea or notion of Santa mean that there is a genuine spirit of giving and benevolence and generosity? Could it be that Santa represents part of God's character as a giver of good gifts? I think that's exactly what it means. And many cultures have gift giving built in one form or another to their holidays. So the concept of a benevolent, supernatural, wise, jolly, good gift giver, does that sound like anybody you think you might have heard of before? I mean, it's psychologically true. it's okay to believe in that. And it's okay to take a holiday to celebrate that. It's okay to talk that up. It's okay to engage in a little consumerism in the name of calling upon the spirit of old Saint Nick as it reflects our limited understanding and our attempt to understand a good God. So Santa and Satan have the same letters. They both wear red, but I think it's a coincidence, or else it's a joke on Satan. So, this jolly old elf is ready for another glass of eggnog and perhaps a trip to the wood shop. Shelley and I are free of any particular commitments today, and so we've got one of those, every once in a while in the lives of parents, the planets align. I'm no astrologer, but I am aware of this phenomenon where when the new moon happens and the bells are ringing and from the south, and the breeze is coming from the northwest, and the bluebirds are singing, and the constellation of Aquarius is in the northwest quadrant, we don't have anything to do. That is an occasional occurrence, and so that has now happened for us today. And so we're going to take a little time today and do some fun stuff and hang around, and who knows, maybe we'll cook something, maybe we'll exercise, maybe we will go to the wood shop and do some fun kind of crafty Christmassy kind of stuff. Who knows? I'm pretty sure I will have another encounter with the dog today in one form or another. I may hold off on the ribs until Christmas morning. I haven't decided. It depends on how moved I feel to bless the dog. Hey, give to my Patreon page if you would. I'm asking you nicely here to consider a little blessing to this old fella here. I've got a Patreon page. You can go to that page from my website, theheartacheconnoisseur.com. There is a link to my Patreon page on there somewhere. I think it's down towards the bottom. It's also on the Patreon website. You go to patreon.com/the_heartache_connoisseur. Nobody does that, but I'm just telling you, that's how you would find it hypothetically. But you're not going to do it that way. But if you do decide to do that, that's how you would find it. So why am I asking you for money? Well, because this is partly a mission for me. That's an attempt to bless you all in a way. I want to use whatever this is as a way to communicate things that I think could be potentially helpful for the listener. And it's something I'm offering you, and it would help me do this on an ongoing basis in quite a few different ways to receive some support. And that being said, if you don't feel moved to support, please don't. I really am totally fine with anybody and everybody enjoying this podcast, whether they give or not. But the Patreon page is out there if you feel so moved. And I hope that all of you, no matter which set of holidays you are celebrating this year, have a truly blessed, a deeply blessed season. I hope that your interactions with your families are peaceful and uplifting. I hope that you have some great surprises, that you eat some great food, that you experience the very best of what the holidays can be. We just gloss over them, but you know what? Let yourself enjoy them. Get into the customs. Get into the culture a little bit. Let it wash over you in ways that maybe, spend a little extra money on decorations. Go buy yourself some new lights. I know half the strand doesn't work, and you're like trying to hang it up and find ways to hide that half broken. You know what? Take $5, $10, $8, whatever dollars and buy some new lights and hang them up and make the place look jovial. And if you do, take a picture of it and post it on my Facebook page. I'd love to see your light job. And hey, happy holidays. It's the Heartache Connoisseur signing off from Iowa.